Very good. We're recording. So,
Okay, I will share my desktop. Can you see the screen of the Chrome
yes, we can.
and the WebStorm screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me show this week's process. I think I have a big move in this week. Let me show it. Just delete it. So I just finished the whole part about login and restore your account. Let me just display it. After you can just click create new account if you don't have any account. Let me just test 1 2 3 1 2 3 and 1 2 3 1 2 3 and request. And then if you copy them, you will copy the mnemonic phrase into clipboard, and I will just copy it to this page. And this page is we can check the address and provide key the my RChain wallet generate. Let's begin. So I just skip the confirm step and just click the skip this step. And the user data will stored in the local storage crypt in this part. So you can't visit it directly. You need to decrypt it to show the real data. So just for the display, I just log the user account in the login this line. But in the real version in the production, in this page, there is no log. So just when you click log out and type in password, and then click login, we will get the username, rev address, either address, mnemonic, and provide key in this part. This part is the crypt data in the user list in the local storage, and we can check the either address between the BIP 39. Let's look at it. 0 5D, and the last DEC. The last part is the DEC, and the provide key is 2BBC, and the last is 61DF. That's the thing. So it's just we can get the real either address and provide key in the my RChain wallet. And when you create your account, you will get all your either address and the rev address and the mnemonic, and provide key, password, username, crypt, and stuff storage stored in the local storage, and in the real production version, you will didn't see the log part because I just display it in for this meeting. And let's try the another part about restore memory freeze. Restore. I will just clean it, and we will return to this page. Click restore, and we can try mnemonic freeze. We can just copy the and type in and continue, and username test 123 done. And we can see just log out and test it. You can see they are all the thing with the BIP 39 mnemonic code page displays the address and the provide key. They are the whole thing. So by now, this create account creation and the restore account will be in production. And let's try it about the provide key part. We can use this to type in. Oh, by the way, if you type in a wrong provide key like this, it will show you provide key is invalid, and try it again. Or you can just if you just clean the 0 cross hex prefix is okay. My RChain wallet will handle it. Yeah. So test 2. Okay, let's just log in. You can see this part is the whole thing. That's it. And thanks to the BIP 39 and the function that last meeting we have the get address from either. So I will make the rev address get the rev address from either. So by now the account creation and restore is we can use it by now. And by another way, another step is that I add a feature about lock the wallet. Let me display it. It was in the unlock. It will lock the page in 30 minutes, and I will try it just display for example 10 minutes. I need to find it in the layout, basic layout. Yeah, here. Lock after 30 minutes. I will try this to 10 seconds. You can see just you need to type in your password to unlock the my RChain wallet. If you type in wrong, your password is invalid, and then you can unlock this part. It's be more safety. So that this is this week's step, and I think we are take the my RChain wallet into shape, and maybe 1 week later or 2 week later, we will make the transfer function into production. That's it.
Now, if you log off or lock the account, then the private key should not be should be not available in the private in the local storage.
What you mean?
Well, um, okay. Well, you're storing the private key there, or you're showing the private key there in the local storage, right?
It was stored in the local storage encrypt. In this part, you need to unlock this part, decrypt this part, and then you can access to it, because we need this some feature like export the private key. So we need to store the private key in somewhere. I just store it in the local storage crypt. And actually, we will not say this part in production, because I just log it in the in this part for this demonstration. In the real environment, when you type in your password, you didn't see anything in the console. So your private key is safe.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. And you will my RChain wallet will logged in after 30 minutes. You need to type in your password again to unlock it, be more safely. And maybe in next week, after I finish the mnemonic phrase export and provide key export, I will start the transform function. And thanks to the how I call I just use his API to make this part, and it's really work.
Very good.
Yeah, that's it. Here is this week's process. I think it's a big move.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's very impressive, Arvin.
Yeah, it looks really
Yeah.
good. Nice improvements.
And this part about the address, and it will show you your rev address by norm. And I will add some feature like click the view button, and the four rev address will display, and you can copy it. But I think maybe we need to design a more better address for the prefix, because 1111 is not so clear for the RIP address. Don't you think about it?
All right.
Uh,
Do we have anything else for today, Ned?
no. Here is all part I did last week. I think maybe in about 1 month, my RChain wallet can be tested on the test net.
Great. Arvin, I have a question about the address, the 1111. What do you mean we need to choose a better address? I thought those were,
Maybe because 1111 is not very clear for user to recognize. For example, if we use the either address,
yeah,
maybe he can recognize the address by this seven characters and the last 5 characters. But in the ref address, after we hide the middle characters, the first 4 character is not useful.
Yeah,
So maybe
you mean as an
we
example?
yeah, we can change it maybe to the RV blah, 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 1ADS blah, blah, blah,
oh, I see.
and yeah,
I think
so
you should
maybe
put
this
yeah.
part maybe more we can recognize it clearly as the last maybe or something else.
Yeah. He's looking for a better example address.
Yeah, maybe okay, like link this RV or RV and then 1AD3 or anything else. I think it's maybe better than 4 in the first. And I just use the function about create from either. So maybe it's not very important. I can just to redesign, reprogram this part to get this this address. So maybe you can design another some better style about the address, and then I can use it. Maybe you can discuss about it.
So if you were to put in my Ethernet address, you would still get the 1111 in the beginning?
So maybe we can add some, or just clear this 4 parts and then change it to some else, and I can add this to program process address processing. For example, when we get the either ref address, for example, maybe we can just translate it to the middle address.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and make the real, we can display the trans. Like that.
Yeah.
And in this function may be the trans RV to display. And you can just import the rev address and return the display address. And maybe another function like trans display address to rev address, and you can just type in your display address and return the rev address. Maybe we can add two more steps to make it better recognized. That's what I think. Maybe it's better to get.
I guess I'm missing the point here. I mean, if I give you my ETH address, for example, if I can put it in the chat here. This is an ETH address. Okay, now if you convert that to a rev address, is that going to start out with 4 ones?
No, I think what Arvid is looking for is just something to display a fake address as an example.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
just
that
a
looks more
display
real.
a fake address, but
Yeah.
the real address is this rev address, and we can process the real rev address in program, but just display the fake address for better recognize.
I'm missing something.
It's only for an example to display on the web page, Jim. Because if you have 1111, it looks so fake. Nobody's going to know what it really is.
Yeah.
So he just wants some real looking address. That's it. It's not
Okay.
used except to
Thomas
display on the
Love.
web page. Yeah.
So is this so you have daylight savings time ended for you, right? So this is an hour different from your normal time. You're on mute, Thomas.
Hey, good morning, Tomislav, or good evening.
Hi, Tom.
Good
Thanks to API. I just finished this transform. I didn't transform. As the creation part, I just finished this account creation. Let's just display it again. That's it.
Yeah, that's great progress. Jim, I was wondering if Raphael is interested in showing a demo in the last 30 minutes, if anybody doesn't have any question.
I guess Steve was asking for a demo of performance measures or something. I don't know. Do you know what Stephen was looking for, Raphael?
No, do you hear me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. No, yes, I guess it's about the discussion we had on the development channel about performance testing. Let me recall. But I'm afraid I won't be able to demonstrate anything today because I just reinstalled my operating system, so I need to install Arnode and other stuff.
Okay.
So now, in terms of, so now we have the real keys as part of the wallet, right? We have real.
Yeah. This account part is can work by now, but it didn't show the balance by now. Maybe I will finish it this week after I finish the export part. Next week you can use my RChain wallet to export your mnemonic phrase and provide key.
So was NutZipper going to help with the getting the actual rev address, the actual rev balance?
Yeah. Yeah, the next step after I finish the account export is about balance display, and the Thomas dependency. His module, I found that it seems to be a function I can use to check the balance. So maybe I will try his module, and if there's some problem, I will talk with him. And his function about transfer the either address to rev address, and it's worked well. So maybe I think maybe the check balance function can work well too.
Hey guys, Arvin, I wonder, is your wallet architecture, can your wallet get the signature out from outer sources, so not store keys inside your wallet, but instead pass the data for signing to a metamask, for example?
How metamask stone the provide key or mnemonic phrase?
I'm just working on this part.
Yeah, that's
I'm
Maybe
working.
you can just ref what MetaMask did, because in my design I just stone it in the local storage encrypt. Let me show.
yeah.
It
And
was
we can have.
stored in this part. It was encrypt.
But I will provide you because we will modify our node to accept signature the same as Ethereum. So signing with MetaMask will be working, and you will be able to sign your deploy and send to MetaMask and get the signed deploy and send to our node. So I'm working on that, and I've already tested all the whole workflow. So now I need to change the R node, and this will probably be done the next week, not this one.
Okay.
So you will have option to use your private keys inside the local storage, but you can also provide users way to sign with MetaMask. Similar how now it's working my Ether. So you can support both versions.
Okay.
That would be nice.
That's great.
And yeah, I'll try to provide also connection to hardware wallet like Ledger.
And Tomislav, is it will it be part of your library? So it will be like some API call on your library to like send to MetaMask. So all the things, all the stuff with dealing with the MetaMask APIs and so on.
Yeah. And this is pretty simple. So I will provide example, which you can just copy paste and that's it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think your library is easy to use. I just use this stuff like get ref address from public key. It's your function and your API. It works well.
Cool. I will provide a similar API for this change. So
okay. So maybe we can make this my RChain wallet into production in 1 month, and we can really test it in the testnet.
Yeah, and I have one information
that's cool.
One information that is also relevant for Rafael. You don't have to pool to get the balance. You don't have to pool, to check if you have the data. You can connect to a WebSocket and wait for your deploy to show up in the block, and then you can just when you see your block is deployed. Well, you need to also wait that your block becomes finalized, and then you can just pull the data and you will have the balance. So I didn't put all of this code into my example. So when I put all of this, you will see the whole.
Okay.
But this is also sorry, but this is also not the final solution, because we need to use this events API. So. I'm just saying that I'm not sure what will be the final solution.
Okay, we can explore it. It maybe needs sometimes to get the final solution.
But
for that.
But the API in JavaScript would be probably very very similar. So you can use what we have and.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's no problem.
Tomislav, are you aware with the state of the 7th API?
what is the state?
Yeah.
I'm not completely sure because DOM was already written like example web application that uses this API. But I didn't try it, and so I don't have all the information. But my plan is to you know to understand the whole API, so I can say more.
I see. Thanks.
So thought I was understanding that the private key wasn't being stored unencrypted in local storage. That you typed in your password and unencrypted it here. I guess my issue is, you know, or my question is there a difference between the way MetaMask stores it and the way it's stored here? And do we have to have, is MetaMask going to be a requirement, or like my Ether wallet, we can do a transaction without MetaMask?
Yeah, but this is not good way to send transactions. So it's always not a good idea to store your password somewhere if you can use MetaMask or Ledger.
The password is not stored.
I mean, private key. Sorry, private key.
The private key is not stored.
Yes, but you know, wallet can be some DNS spoofing methods or phishing or something else. So you never know if you are typing your password into some fraudulent website. But in general, yes, MetaMask allows this type. So if we have Arvin made a solution with the encrypted private key, so that's great.
For example,
I will check if there are any other solution about the private key. Maybe it can be stored in another better place, or even we didn't need to store the private key in the web. I will check if there is any better solution about private key in storage.
Actually, go forward.
Yeah, I wanted to say that now it's becoming now it's something that is coming in that area is web out, and this is in a sense hardware wallet that you can access on your cell phone. So now how biometrics is stored in phone is accessible to this web out API. So this is the very similar API that Ledger and other hardware wallets are using. So you know, in the future we will be able to access this this secure storage from the phone directly from the browser. So you will like have a hardware part which is similar to MetaMask. You know, you will have your private key on your hardware chip on your cell phone, and you will send your data to sign in to this device. So I'm looking at that as part of this hardware connection. How to use it, and you know how to store private keys in the phone. So Arvin, maybe you can also I will share these links in Discord. So maybe you can check this and you know.
Yeah. Okay. I will just check this part.
It is still in you know in development or you know the standard is
Okay.
is
Yeah.
creation.
I will check. Yeah.
But in the future, yeah, that would be a good way to store.
Yeah. Okay.
Not zipper. What is the state of testnet? So I was thinking that we don't have any network live which is working. If testnet is something is broken on testnet, we don't have any network that is public and that is that you can just use it for run any contract. So
Well, I mean,
what do you think?
Well,
No, technically, Sandbox is also available for you to use.
Oh no, not in that sense. Something that is stable, that you can just show some example to someone and say, okay, look, I give you this rev address and you can play with this example application.
So I guess in terms
It doesn't
of
have to be performant or anything. Just
got
if
it.
you can.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if we have the Sandbox, which mostly I guess a lot of the time is being used by the developers now. Does it make sense to make testnet into two different parts? One that is available for people to use for the purpose that Tomislav just described, and the other one is a bit more dynamic, or what should we do?
Yeah, maybe
Like
Jim
instead of 10 nodes on testnet, should we have two different ones? One is 5 nodes, the other one is 5 nodes, or?
we can just instantiate one more network with 5 nodes if we need. So it won't be a huge amount of money to take these instances on Google Cloud. But the thing is that we are trying to, the things are moving fast and we're trying to test on testnet as well. So currently we're running on testnet the situation where all validators have equal stake. It looks like it won't be the case, but we tried. So I guess if we go back to the situation where we have synchrony constraint 0.99, so basically when all nodes are building a straight blockchain one by one after another, so this thing can be pretty stable and we can test it. And it was actually pretty stable until we didn't try to send like 10,000 deploys onto one node, and we revealed some bugs. Hopefully successfully revealed some bugs, and they have to be fixed. But when you try to use some kind of testing scenarios, extreme testing scenarios, testnet will be expectedly broken, might be, and most probably will be, because you don't have any constraints on deploy payments, cost accounting, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But if we need something that we should not touch with any kind of these dangerous large deploys, so we can instantiate one more node, or we can just try to but basically this can be a solution.
So NutZipper, are we doing that on testnet, these quote unquote dangerous tests or things we don't know what they would do to the network? Are we doing them on testnet because Sandbox is not available, or what was the rationale?
Well, testnet is available, and I guess it was like, just let's try this, and okay, let's try. We didn't know that it will broke the testnet.
Okay. All right, fair enough. So what I would say is that anything we don't know in general, meaning if it's a test that we don't have expected results or whatever, in general, I think, let me put it this way. It doesn't matter what test. If Sandbox is available, we should just use Sandbox first so that the testnet is available for others to use. And then there are certain things, yes, testnet would be the better place to test. So that's fine. But also let me understand your comment about having to go back to 0.9. So right now, I think the testnet is running a 0.67 synchrony constraint.
Yes, yes. And I'm not sure if how this working. So testnet is progressing, so blockades is rising. But I didn't try to put any deploys and check if the block proposed will be in the DAG after some time. It will be not dropped and not in the chain in the DAG that is accepted by all validators. It can be that it will be like orphaned, or this is a part that I'm not very familiar with, and it's not clear for me when should you expect your data to be safe. So when you put some ref transfers into the data into the chain, when you should be calm and be sure that this block won't be orphaned, dropped by all validators, and they will build DAG without this block. So when we use this synchrony constraint 0.67, we have pretty well connected DAG, but I guess that it might be that things are moving in this network, because if you look at the blockade graph, it is not like constantly rising. You can see that block height on the node 0 can be 65, then 63, then 67, then 64. So we can and should test this, but I'm not sure that this is like a very very scenario that is, sorry, how should I say?
Basically, you're saying we don't know the root cause for why the block height is going down. That's what you're saying.
Yes, and we don't know if this is normal or not.
Did you check block finalization?
Yeah, block finalization is not in yet. So Daniel is working on triggering block finalization on a schedule. Currently, it's triggered only when I call the VDAG. So,
okay.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Rao about that.
Well, I thought Daniel was close to complete on the.
Yeah. Yes.
Did he actually put out a PR with that? He should have, if he has not by now, I think.
I seen PR with storing a last finalized block on the disk. So my question is, I seen some comments that we can finalize after each block, you know. So that would be nice, because we can just read this last finalized block when someone calls this from API.
Yeah. So what Daniel was going to do was basically call at n blocks, n being n could be 1. N is a positive number, basically. So it could be n. The reason being that I guess it's more of it gives us a little bit of an optimization possibility because what we agreed is that the earliest finalization can be called is at the end of each block. And the latest finalization can be called is before validator rotation, before every validator rotation. So within that range, what's the optimal is what I guess at this point we don't know. That's the reason why we were saying.
But for me, this is not really the question, you know. So if I deploy something to Arnold, I want information of finalized block immediately. I don't want to wait, but because, you know, I was applying some changes to the state, right? And I want to be able to as much as possible, you know, as quickly as possible to know this information. I mean, this is how I think.
Right. I mean, yes, what we need to look at is if we do that after every block, whether that's going to suck up a lot of resources. I'm saying that's the piece we don't know.
Okay.
That's
Okay,
the
yeah.
reason why he was trying to put an end so that it can be optimized. Obviously, we'll start with the 1 as the setting, and we'll slowly increase that if need be, if we need to. Hopefully, we don't have to. So he was working on a bunch of optimizations within finalization itself was the main stuff he was doing. And then he was going to put in this thing to call it after end blocks. But I just pinged him to see if we can get an answer on where the PR is for that.
Great. Okay, that's great. I can do the change on API when we have this information stored on local.
And sorry, guys, it doesn't make sense to trigger finalization after each propose, because to make a block finalized, it should be enough stake behind it. So you should first get some blocks from other validators. So it's not like something you will get immediately after you deploy, and even after you propose, after you wait for a block to propose. So it will be quite a long time. So this is another question: what's the time before block is finalized? And we were hoping to write a test for this to get a sense. What's the time before block finalization?
So
you don't mean a time like really the time, right? You mean
right.
What is the condition?
He means the events, yeah. So I guess are you saying, NetZipper, that we should wait until there's sufficient before we finalize? Is that what you said just now?
Yeah. Yes. As I understand, this block is finalized when there is enough stake behind this block.
Yeah. So okay, that's that
Ahead
makes
of this
sense. I
block.
mean,
ahead of this block. So enough blocks built on top of this block. So to revert back the state, you should spend spend a lot of money and cost, and should be slashed, and later should be slashed, and so basically you should have some blocks built on top of this.
But we can be sure that after some threshold, you cannot change this. You know it's fine.
Yes, and it is actually dynamic, so it depends on the shard. You can set that in this shard, as I understand, in this shard we treat the finalized block if it is almost no chance to revert it, and in other shard you can say, okay, we're running a shard amongst the friends, so we are treating each block as finalized, for example. So this is my understanding on how this dynamic system works.
So in a sense, you see this as a dynamic, but each node, when node decides that block is finalized, as you said, he sees enough stake on this block. So maybe some other node doesn't know this block is already finalized because he don't see all the information as this first time validator. But when he see enough stake, then then he knows that all the others will eventually see the same, or they're already seeing the same. Is this make sense?
Yes. What I was seeing is that view on a DAG from different validators may differs, and the last finalized block, when I trigger finalization on Sandbox, last finalized blocks are different blocks, but I'm testing there, and it might
but
be
they must be descendants, one of the other, right? They must be on the same branch, right? In the same deck. It shouldn't be possible to have finalists for different, and one will be orphaned at the end. So they should not happen.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Because then you just see different point in time on different validator, but eventually you will see all of the finalized blocks all the validators will agree on all the finalized blocks?
Well, this is something I right now trying to figure out. On Sandbox, I'm looking into the DAGs, so I'm not sure what exactly happening there, because I just saw that these finalized blocks are different. Why they're different and other in the same chain? So I'm asking guys to add more logs, more verbose, so I can figure out what's happening. So I can say I'm not sure that they are like descendants or
yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, I was thinking we need more information from Arnold. You know, we need all the information of the deck, right? To see all of the connections, right? To check.
Yeah, you can see it in the DAG dump. What's the format of the file? There is you can see a picture, but picture is built upon from the texture representation, so we can see all the relations between the blocks. There is such a thing.
Yeah, but you don't see what are the finalized and what are the reported as finalized, right?
No, yeah, you see, because picture is generated out from this textual file. There is all information there.
Okay, but you don't have the where are you getting this information of finalized blocks that you don't know what is the descendants? You mean can you see it on this diagram?
Yes, on this diagram, the finalized block is marked with a gray block, and it's marked with a gray block because in the textual file with all this DAG information, there is a mark that this block is finalized. And you can see actually on other validators where is this finalized blocked in others validators DAG view, and what's the relation between finalized blocks of itself and other validators. You can trace this path, but I did not yet.
Okay, I see. Because I was thinking that now if we when we have this events API, we can bring all of the information from all the nodes in one on one place, right? We can maybe generate some kind of graph where you can see the difference in a view of the world on different validators.
Well, have you tried Kibana? It's a log aggregator and it's quite nice. And you
I didn't use it for that, so
yeah, I use it and it's very cool thing.
And can you somehow represent these kind of tree structures, or is it more like for some kind of graph, or I know that you have static data or you have like points, right?
Yes, it definitely, to your point, it definitely would be nice to have some dynamic data aggregation tool that will provide you more insight into how the network behaves. It's definitely a must-have thing, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah, with this API, it shouldn't be too much work. So maybe we can.
Well, I mean, basically, there may be existing open source tools that can be fed with the API results, and that might give you enough of a visual representation, right?
Yeah, like Block Explorer. And yeah, maybe we can take some existing Block Explorer and just feed it with our data.
I actually didn't find any DAG Explorer open source. So you can have a blockchain explorer, but there is no DAG explorers.
And some of this existing one for Ethereum. Maybe
blockchain. So you cannot visualize the DAG and layer some data on top of it. You can go into the blocks to see what's happening, what's inside the blocks, what's the relation between blocks. But this is like something that we already have with the, for example, that DAG dump. we can see a relation between blocks, and then we can call on each block and see what's inside. So it takes a bit of typing, but it's the same that you can reach with the traditional block explorer. In a sense, then when you need to investigate something.
I see. Yeah.
But I was thinking about this as well, and yeah, it would be nice.
I have a question that's kind of not related to this discussion, but since Lamont is here, I wanted to ask, there was a conversation that came up about what performance data do we have on the network at this point in time. Lamont, is it possible to put out the results of what you have done along with the conditions somewhere that people can look at as you do those tests?
I have to run the test again, and then yes, I can share the results. Should I do it on the testnet or sandbox network?
Well, I mean, basically you'll be running different conditions. I guess you could use whichever one is available.
Okay.
Now, I guess the one problem we have is that like the synchrony constraint 0.67 or 0.99 or whatever, you need NutZipper or somebody to change that or restart nodes for you with that. But that, I think, may be easier on the sandbox. Is it NutZipper, or it doesn't matter?
I guess that we can do on the. If anyone wants to do something on sandbox, just ping me, and we'll do this. If we need testnet to be stable, let's make it stable. And if you need sandbox, we can do this. Okay.
So yeah, so if we can, do you remember, like, from the last time you were running tests, are there any numbers you can say this is what the performance is in terms of transactions per second or per minute, or?
So the raw file I deployed n times per second, I think it contained like 2 or 3 COM events, and the main discussion we had is that it could be better to have some rev transfer contract to have a kind of general idea of how much transactions we'll be able to process. So I think it could be better for me to code this.
Well, actually, I think NutZipper, do you have a rev transfer contract already among the 350 contracts that we have, right?
Yeah, actually, I developed rev transfers test on and I run it on the testnet before. So I have this stuff, which is sending transfers between different wallets, and then checking the balances and comparing with balances that are tracked off chain. But as yeah, so when network,
the Node.js scripts I have just could use these raw files, and then but the idea is that you can very easily deploy a transfer 20 or 40 or 100 times per second. So maybe NutZipper, could you send me those files or some URLs?
Yeah, actually, I developed shell scripts, a bunch of shell scripts that are doing this stuff. And to send a ref, you need to deploy a special kind of template of raw line code and substitute it with wallets that you need, and sign it with your private keys. And if signature is accepted, this raw line code will be executed, and the rev-vault instance that is available from the Genesis block will pass these funds from one wallet to another. So basically, you just need to deploy some kind of a you need to deploy code, rolling code to make a transfer and to make a validator to propose this code. And again, to the topic of measuring the performance, it's not sufficient to submit deploys to the node. So if you're submitting deploys 100 deploys per second or 10 deploys per second, it doesn't mean anything, because all these deploys will be executed at one time when node will be proposing a block. So basically, you should measure how much time does it takes for node to propose a block with this number of COM events.
Okay. Okay, so currently I propose, but every 10 seconds. So it means that you run my script for like 1 minute and you check that the number on chain is the expected number regarding the number of deploys that you have sent. But there is propose, it's not only deploy, it's also a propose every 10 seconds.
Yes, and you don't know if all this, you should submit this stuff, and then basically you should wait for network to converge, to settle. So there are no deploys going between there are no blocks added by validators. So when validator is proposing, it creates a block and sends to its peers. So you need to wait until every peer receives these blocks, add it to its DAG, and no other activity in the network happening. And then you can measure if these values are as expected.
Okay.
So it's between this.
I mean, when network is settled, it's maybe a little, too late, because if you can just check when you have finalized data on these deploys that you transfer rep, this would be the right time, right? Because you don't care about after that.
Well, yeah, sure, but yes. In general, if you are willing to run network further, you should wait for a block to finalize. But if you just want to measure a throughput, you need to figure out when all these executions actually been done.
Oh, but if you don't, do you then stop new deploys on the input?
Yeah, yes, you submit deploys, stop deploys, and wait until network process all this.
I would rather wait for finalization and don't stop the input.
Well,
because then you will exactly know when the network is under pressure. You just wait. What is the throughput when the network is it's still progressing.
When it is under pressure, so it's like if you throw a lots of deploys onto the nodes, you are throwing 200 deploys onto the node. Proposal took, for example, a minute, and then you're throwing more deploys after 30 seconds. So the node didn't execute previous deploys, and you added more. So you adding, and finally you have 1,000 deploys in a queue for node to propose. So this is as well a natural situation, because in production, validators shouldn't, I guess, they shouldn't allow this to happen, and they should scale their hardware to handle the load. So this is actually good point, because we should talk about testing scenarios, because it's not clear what's the testing scenarios is the valid one, because there are a lot of moving parts here. But in my understanding, to measure the throughput, you need to figure out how much does it take for the network to process the load that you submitted.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
Does this make sense, or if not, just just tell me.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, what you said totally makes sense. We have a situation that node is waiting for deploys, and yeah, we can have 1,000 deploys in one proposal, which is not the same as if node can execute propose in you know in smaller pieces or something that. I mean, we should test. Is the same throughput with 100 deploys or 1,000 deploys?
Yes, because in production, the flow of deploys will be a constant flow. So every second, like, of course, I think they won't be a node will not receive 1,000 deploys per second, but maybe like 20 or 40. And I think it has to be a constant flow from the performance testing program. But I guess every test case is cool to look at and play with.
Yeah, and
Yeah, agreed.
yeah.
So if you want to test something, just let's chat in the Discord and manage and figure out what's happening in the network. Sandbox is available. I'm testing
Okay.
something there, but we can.
Yes. Okay. So this afternoon, I'm going to try again to the only problem I have transfer to Mislav helped me a bit. The other I did.
Yeah. And yeah, I have one question. Rafael, you said that your synchrony constraint, if you're running only one node, one standalone node, if you set synchrony constraint to 0, you said you can deploy, and you can propose.
Yes.
For me,
Yes.
this is not working, so
Okay.
I'm not sure. You know, it's
maybe we don't have the exact same version, but currently I have no RNode version on my computer. I must download it again. But
are
I'll
you using
try.
15 or 16?
Yes, it was on 15.
For me, 15 was not working, so I didn't try later because I'm using now a modified version, so I just modified the code. But it's strange, you know, it's just one argument. So.
And did you try with a synchrony constraint at 1?
No, only 0.
Okay, but okay.
But you say it's 0. For you, it's working 0.
For me, it didn't work without 0, and it worked with. So okay. And okay, so should I take RNode 16 or 15?
I'm not sure.
Maybe
Zipper is not here, so
maybe I'll stick to
16 or 15. What are you referring to?
RNode version number.
In 16, only synchrony constraint is different, or
no?
Right.
I'll take 15 because I forgot, but I already deployed it on my server, so I'll take 15 because I'm going to ship some version of DAPI soon, and when it's stable enough, I plan to do a like 30 minutes introduction. It could be very interesting, I think, for some developers to have a look.
Yeah, right.
I'll demonstrate, for example, the the equivalent of MetaMask work. It means that you can have third-party applications that require an identification for a given public key, and then DAPI does it and sends it back to the third-party application. So this way, the third-party application does not have to manage private key or be or handle those stuff.
So whenever you guys are able to demo something, we can do that as part of the community debriefs. So just let me know when you're ready. The community debriefs are on Wednesday, so we can have, you can have a segment in there that you can demo whatever you're able to demo.
Okay. So,
maybe you can demo first here and then on the community. Some more, maybe shorter version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's best to just to make sure that you are okay for the thing I have to show, and then we plan it on Wednesday. Maybe next Wednesday, not tomorrow, but the next one.
Yeah, that sounds good.
I guess I'll be ready to show some stuff concerning the performance or even DAPI.
Okay. Tomislav, do you have anything to demo this Wednesday or?
No, I don't have.
Not yet.
Well,
okay.
now I will not work on wallets, right? So I'll do the next week.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So in terms of, I guess, the transactions and COM events, Lamut, does it sound like we have a plan then of what we may be able to capture as data that people can validate or comprehend?
I'll produce it. I'll try to produce some like a readable and clear outputs on the testnet. The issue is that we are currently not, all agree about the test to conduct. So I wrote some tests. I guess NetZipper has some other tests that are a bit different. But I'll just work on it in the next days. And on my machine with one node, I could process a very high number of transactions. On the testnet, we had trouble, but it was caused by the synchrony constraint parameter.
Are you able to run two nodes on your where you are, and then maybe do the 0.67 synchrony constraint or something like that, and see if you can produce something like that? That might be. Does that make sense, guys? I mean,
I've never set up a network of nodes at the moment. If it's simple, maybe I can.
Well, if not, you can actually use the sandbox. Like NetZipper says, anytime you want to run it on 5 nodes, he can help you with setting it up. And there are some pieces there with the run deck. You may be able to change things on your own. So he can take you walk you through that. So I think, yeah, don't worry that you can use anytime you want. And then we can get some data out on there. And actually, it'll be nice to be able to compare both a single node results as well as a 5 node network. So I think if we can put something out and say, here is kind of what we're seeing, that would help.
Okay, that's great. So I guess I'll work with NetZipper, and together we'll try to produce some outputs.
Right. Does anybody else have any comments on what might be useful as a performance thing, like basically feedback into Lamut as to what may be seen as useful from either a DApp community or other perspectives? So yeah, so we can start with that and see. I think once we put out some results, people will have questions and ask. That might inform what more or what different things we should be testing, right? So.
and maybe we can generate some tests. You know, after I write this test for cost accounting, maybe I will have more ideas.
Yeah, well, what you're writing plus also what Mike Stay is doing for
Yeah,
cost accounting is generative tests. So
yeah, I mean on these tests that Mike is writing.
yeah,
And I was thinking maybe we can call Mike to go through the code of multisig, and you know, to say something about you know, like object capabilities part of this, and you know, I think Jim would be happy to see it. To hear
I think
it.
as soon as Mike is done with his, I think he's close to publishing his PR. So when he's done with that, we can then move. We have him kind of walk through his PR within the group, so that might help.
Yeah.
Are we doing anything here, or we're on the 11:30 mark? Are we done, or?
Oh, there is nothing I need to say. Maybe we can close this meeting.
I mean, that's okay. If you want to stay, whoever wants to leave can leave.
Okay, because there is 11:30 my local, so maybe I need to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Already, Arvind? No, yeah, you should definitely go to sleep. So
All right, guys. Great meeting. I'm signing off.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Okay. See ya.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you.
Bye.
Okay, bye.